watching this UAW strike unfold and seeing Sean Fain in front of cameras, he is like one of the most on-message guys you will ever see. And what that means is typically media will like try and ask questions to like kind of like, you know, get under the person they're talking to's skin, get them to answer in like interesting or combative ways, or shift topics and talk about something else. Because they'll typically get more raw answers if they get someone off of prepared messaging, right? And Sean Fain is incredibly good at just making sure he comes back around and hits on the major points that the union needs to get out to, you know, just the general population, you know? And this clip was circling around today on social media, so let's take a look at it real quick.
Companies chose to put us in this position because they've had 8 weeks to get a contract, and they chose for 7 weeks to screw around and do nothing. They got serious in the last week. This isn't on the UAW workers. When bad things happen and things are happening right now, it's all because the companies. They own it. It's on their shoulders.
So do you deny that it's going to hurt the consumers in the long run?
What's hurt the consumers in the long run is the fact that companies have raised prices on vehicles 35% in the last 4 years. It's not because of our wages. Our wages went up 6%. The CEO pay went up 40%. Profits have been in the billions, the hundreds of billions. They own all this. That's what's hurting the consumer.
Like, holy shit. Like, is this going to hurt the consumer? He's like, nah, man, the company is hurting the consumer. That's not because of us. Just excellent redirect. That was like that was like the rhetorical equivalent of like, you know, like a martial arts master using your own momentum against you to like do a flip. You know, like that was some actual like rhetorical judo. He didn't even like pause or take a break in that. He just immediately flipped it back around to union messaging. That was really good. But also interesting is that so Joe Biden has kind of been relatively supportive of the strike. You know, it just has made some supportive statements and comments in press conferences and such. And what we have going on right now is that, well, Sean Fain invited Joe Biden to come to the picket line on Tuesday, and guess what? Joe Biden has answered. Tuesday, I'll go to Michigan to join the picket line and stand in solidarity with the men and women of UAW as they fight for a fair share of the value they helped create. It's time for a win-win agreement that keeps American auto manufacturing thriving and well-paid UAW jobs. And like, damn. Like, I know Joe Biden pissed away a lot of goodwill on unions when it came to the railroad strike. And that's understandable, but he's actually putting on his walking shoes to go to the strike lines. And it's really difficult to kind of, you know, put into words just how much it means for the President of the United States to show up to support your workers' movement, you know? Like, it is deeply important that they have this kind of, like, institutional show of support. It will help with their bargaining at the table against these auto manufacturers. And also, just to point out, and this is a story from the Washington Post today, the United Auto Workers is widening its strike against General Motors and Stellantis, but not against Ford, because Ford is at the bargaining table already. Of the big three here, 1/3 of them is already, like, seriously negotiating with the auto union. Like, that's really impressive. And intensifying the strike against General Motors and Stellantis is I think, going to bring the companies in line. This is really, really wonderful.
Solidarity forever. For the union makes US strong.
Kyrie, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. And true! These strikes are effective. Unions get shit done. Union President Shawn Fain said the UAW is broadening its strike to 38 warehouses in 20 states over lack of progress in contract talks. Let's just see where they are when it comes to Ford. Yeah. Fain said the union will not widen the strike against Ford for now because Ford has made further concessions and negotiations are progressing. He said Ford had agreed to reinstate cost of living adjustments to wages and offer new job security provisions. The union is continuing its strike against one Ford factory in Michigan. However, it's not expanding, so they're making progress here. Targeted strikes keep the companies guessing. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. That's the other thing. These Chad union organizers for the UAW basically passed along false information to Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis about which places were going to be struck. And so all the companies prepared for those particular locations to undergo strikes. But then the UAW didn't strike those locations and struck different ones, and all of the pre-strike preparations that they made, that the big three tried to take, completely undermined. It's so good. It's so good. King shit. Well, and that's the thing, right? When you have mobilized your entire union to go on a strike, and then you are able to start small with your strike, that gives you more room to intensify the strike and continue getting media attention. It's actually a really brilliant maneuver. So they can continue to stay relevant throughout the strike, and they can keep the bosses guessing about where new strikes are going to happen, and they can kind of do a little carrot and stick negotiating with Ford, for example. They're like, see, Ford, we're not expanding our strike against you because you're playing ball with us. It gives a lot more negotiating leverage than one might initially imagine. Plus, UAW is getting international solidarity along with public support. Yeah, we talked yesterday about how the Canadian, auto manufacturers union, I forget exactly what it's called off the top of my head, but their union is moving to strike against auto manufacturers in Canada as well. So there is solidarity across the northern border, which is really, really nice. Cather Queen, thank you for subscribing over on Twitch. I very, very much appreciate that. So yeah, it's been a good day, and it's really going to be exciting to see how Biden showing up affects the union negotiating, because again, and I know that this rankles people on the left, because again, the bar for the US president is so low when it comes to supporting leftist ideas that a president showing up to a strike is some literal historic levels of support, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, honestly, wait, has any president ever done this before? Has any president visited a picket line? Okay, two hours ago from CNN, Jeremy Suri, a presidential historian and professor at University of Texas at Austin, said he doesn't believe any president has ever visited a picket line during a strike. This literally has never happened. So, yeah, actually pretty exciting, you know? The bar was so low and he just met it. I know, right? But honestly, it's also very disappointing that the bar has been so low for so long and no other president has done it until now. You know what? Let's take our wins where we can get them. Maybe we can get our next Democratic president to do 2 strike lines. All right? Let's keep moving that bar up, okay? Steadily. Biden might be the most impactful policy president on the left since LBJ. He's just old and boring and doesn't tend to chase or react to news cycles. Yeah, like, honestly, and again, I'm a leftist who doesn't like Biden. I've made that very, very clear. I've talked about how I think he has numerous shortcomings when it comes to policy and what he could be doing. That being said, like, the bar, again, is just so low. And he has made a number of different policies and proposals that have been adopted and passed that are, you know, groundbreaking and historic. Biden isn't on the left, but he's doing good things. Well, I mean, he's a centrist. He's on the left in the center. Like, he's not like a revolutionary by any means, but like, dude isn't dude's not a conservative. LBJ, Liverboat Jack. There you go. You got it. Nailed it. But Jack, if we don't vote for a third party or refuse to vote at all, we're literally the worst people ever. Oh, God. Yep. Yep. God damn it. We're only going to see people saying stuff like that in more and more and more and more intensely as we get closer to the election day. So, I mean, brace yourselves for impact on that one, folks. He tried to do a student debt thing, and the court struck that down. That's not his fault. I mean, he could have done some other things for student debt. Like, there's a very good argument that he could literally just sign an executive order to forgive the debt. I believe something along those lines. That, like, a scholar said something along the lines of, like, he with a stroke of a pen, he could undo student debt. But he didn't go that route. And right now they're trying a different kind of like half-assed measure. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with that. I would imagine, frankly, that if anything were to happen with that, it would be shortly before the 2024 election. Because that would just be very convenient